Salam sejahtera. Perkenalkan, saya Tina Nurhoyriati, dosen tetap pada Program Studi Teknologi Pangan Universitas Bina Nusantara. Pada kesempatan ini, saya akan memaparkan salah satu unsur dalam PDD UKTPT, yaitu unsur pengajaran melalui mata kuliah Food Engineering atau Teknik Pangan dengan kode FOOD 6056015. Food Engineering merupakan salah satu mata kuliah wajib bagi mahasiswa program studi teknologi pangan pada semester 4. Mata kuliah ini memiliki bobot 4 SKS yang terdiri atas 2 SKS teori yang dilaksanakan di kelas dan 2 SKS praktikum laboratorium. Selain itu, mata kuliah ini juga dilengkapi dengan sesi tutorial di kelas, bertujuan memperkuat pemahaman mahasiswa melalui pembahasan soal, studi kasus, dan latihan penyelesaian masalah. Proses pembelajaran menggunakan bahasa Inggris sebagai bahasa pengantar sebagai bagian dari upaya mempersiapkan mahasiswa untuk mampu berkomunikasi dan bekerja dalam lingkungan akademik maupun industri pangan bertaraf internasional. Sesuai dengan deskripsi mata kuliah, Food Engineering membahas berbagai unit operasi yang diterapkan dalam industri pangan. Mahasiswa mempelajari prinsip-prinsip dasar rekayasa pangan, serta mengaitkannya dengan pengaruh setiap unit operasi terhadap mutu, keamanan, dan efisiensi proses pengolahan pangan. Adapun capaian pembelajaran mata kuliah ini meliputi yang pertama, mahasiswa mampu merumuskan neraca massa dan neraca energi pada suatu proses manufaktur pangan. Yang kedua, mahasiswa mampu menganalisis karakteristik fluida dan air limbah dalam proses pengolahan pangan. Yang terakhir, yaitu yang ketiga, mahasiswa mampu merancang proses termal untuk menghasilkan produk pangan yang aman untuk dikonsumsi. Untuk mencapai capaian pembelajaran tersebut, strategi pembelajaran yang diterapkan memadukan berbagai metode pembelajaran, antara lain kuliah, diskusi kelas, diskusi grup, tugas kelompok, studi kasus, latihan soal, serta praktikum laboratorium. Melalui kombinasi metode tersebut, mahasiswa tidak hanya memperoleh pemahaman teori, tetapi juga mengembangkan kemampuan berpikir kritis, bekerja sama dalam tim, serta menerapkan konsep rekayasa pangan dalam menyelesaikan permasalahan nyata di industri di masa depan. Referensi utama yang digunakan dalam mata kuliah ini adalah textbook dari Singh and Helpman, Introduction to Food Engineering, 5th Edition Academic Press. Buku tersebut merupakan referensi wajib yang harus dimiliki oleh setiap mahasiswa karena membahas konsep-konsep fundamental dalam rekayasa proses pangan secara komprehensif. Akses terhadap e-textbook ini difasilitasi oleh Library and Knowledge Center Universitas Bina Nusantara. Selain itu, mahasiswa juga menggunakan berbagai artikel ilmiah dan jurnal penelitian terkini, khususnya sebagai referensi dalam pelaporan kegiatan laboratorium. Penilaian pada mata kuliah ini dilakukan menggunakan tes formatif dan sumatif. Tes formatif dilakukan saat sesi pembelajaran, misalkan dengan menggunakan metode KWL chart, sedangkan tes sumatif dilakukan setelah pembelajaran selesai. Komponen penilaian terdiri atas beberapa bentuk asesmen sesuai dengan rencana pembelajaran semester, yaitu tugas sebesar 10%, Assurance of Learning Project 10%, ujian tengah semester 20%, ujian akhir semester 20%, ujian akhir laboratorium 15%, dan nilai laporan praktikum sebesar 25%. Seluruh proses penilaian mengacu pada rubrik penilaian yang tercantum dalam RPS yang telah disahkan oleh pihak yang berwenang. Pada kesempatan ini, video yang akan ditampilkan merupakan rekaman pembelajaran di kelas yang sebenarnya. Rekaman tersebut telah melalui proses penyuntingan untuk menyesuaikan durasi dengan persyaratan penyusunan dokumen PDD UKTPT tanpa mengubah substansi maupun alur kegiatan pembelajaran. Topik pembelajaran yang dipilih adalah rheology, yaitu materi pada sesi ketiga yang membahas sifat alir dan deformasi bahan pangan serta faktor-faktor yang memengaruhinya. Topik ini merupakan salah satu materi fundamental dalam food engineering karena konsep rheology menjadi dasar dalam perancangan proses pengolahan, pemilihan peralatan, pengendalian mutu, dan pengembangan berbagai produk pangan. Selanjutnya, saya persilahkan Bapak, Ibu, Asesor untuk menyaksikan cuplikan proses pembelajaran di kelas.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming. How was your holiday? Hopefully, you have had a relaxing holiday last week. Can we start? Yeah. Okay. So, I want to ask you a question here. So, today we'll learn about rheology. And there's a question, why is rheology necessary? Why is rheology important? Okay, anyone can elaborate what is the necessary of rheology on process design? Anyone? Azaria, maybe? Why is rheology necessary in process design? Today's topic. So these are the learning outcomes. However, the session outcome is by the end of the session, you will be able to analyze the rheology characteristic of fluids in the food manufacturing process. You to scan this chart, and then fill in number 1 and number 2. So please fill in number 1 and number 2 question. So there's no true or false answer. Yeah, you only need to fill in. So I expect there will be 23 responses. Only number 1 and number 2. Yeah. Okay. So I think we can go through the results. Yeah, there are 15 responses. And for the question number 1, what do you already know about food rheology? So answer that it is kind of study about food flow. Yeah. Okay. A branch of science studies how food material flow and deform. Yeah. How flows and changes in shape. Okay. And then for question number 2, I would want to understand how food structure at the micro and molecular level and know how to measure the viscosity and texture of food. Yeah, I think, thank you for your responses. So, topic and subtopics today are introduction and then deformation. Yeah. So, some of you answer about what is rheology and answered it's about food deformation. What is deformation? It is the changes of form. And then we'll also learn about shear stress and strain, and then shear rate, and then viscosity. Some of you also answered rheology is related with viscosity, and then types of fluid flow. Yeah? And then last is about rheology model. Okay, so beforehand, I want you to join this Kahoot. However, this Kahoot only can facilitate up to 10 participants. So I invite 2 persons from this group, 4 persons, and then last also 4 persons. Nah, okay, kita mulai ya. What is rheology? Yeah, study of flow and deformation of matter. Yeah, okay. A Newtonian fluid has a constant viscosity at all shear rates. Okay, shear stress is defined as force per unit area. Remember what is force per unit area? Anyone remember our general physics lesson? What is force per unit area? Force per unit area equals pressure. Okay, unit of viscosity in CGS system. Centimeter, gram, second system. Yeah, it's voice. So, and then what is the unit of viscosity in SI systems? Pascal, second. Yeah. In CGS systems, it's voice. Okay, next. Oh, tengah belakang. Siapa nih tengah belakang? Okay, you did a great job with this quiz. Okay, so rheology. What is rheology? Rheo means flow, logia means study of. So rheology is the study of the flow and deformation of matters. Yeah. Which matter that flows and which matter that deforms? Azaria, you seem want to answer this. Which material flows and which material deforms? Deforms, solid or liquid? Solid. And which one that flows? Liquid. Yeah. So liquid will flow while solids will deform. Rheology is the study of the flow and deformation of matters. When subjected to external forces, solids will deform and liquids will flow. But most of the food materials are between liquids and solids. Okay. So from the rheological standpoint, materials can be divided into those that deform and those that flow. We know about the ideal solid or liquid, which are independent of the strain rate. However, most foodstuffs are not ideal. Yeah? So usually they contain some solid and some liquid attributes. In other words, they are viscoelastic. Okay, now we need to learn about some of terms in rheology. So first is stress. I think we often mention stress in our daily life. Stress is the intensity of the force component acting on a body, expressed as force per unit area of foot. So stress is a force component acting on a body, expressed as force per surface area of the foot. So we know there's a stress here, which is perpendicular to the surface. This is stress. Okay? So it's perpendicular to the surface. What if the stress is parallel with the surface? Yeah. So stress is pressure that is perpendicular with the surface of the foot. And what is the force or pressure that parallel with the surface? We call it as shear. This one is normal, this one is shear stress. So if the stress is perpendicular with the surface, then it's called normal stress. Remember in general physics, we also learned about normal force, which is perpendicular to the surface. If the force is parallel with the surface, then we call it as shear. Next is about strain. Strain is the change in size or shape of a body in response to an applied stress. So strain is the deformation, or the change in shape or size of a body or a food due to external forces. And then there's another term here. It is the strain rate. Strain rate is the time derivative of strain. So strain per unit of time. Now we'll see more deeply about shear stress and strain. So imagine there's a solid food with a cube shape here, and then some external force which is parallel with the surface acting on this food. So it is parallel with the surface. So is it shear stress or normal stress? Shear. So there's shear stress acting on this solid food, and the shear stress can be quantified by calculate the amount of force per surface area. The unit of force is Newton, and the unit of surface area is square meter. Newton over square meter is the same with Pascal. So Newton over square meter equals Pascal. Now we learn about shear strain. So shear strain is the ratio of du over L. So du is the length, the changes of the length of the foot. So initially the foot is stand straight like this, and then a shear stress applied, so this foot become deformed. So imagine this foot is stick to two surfaces, and the upper surfaces is pulled to the right direction, but the lower part is stand still. The changes of the length over the thickness of the cube. So we can get the shear strain. For a very small deformation, for example, this angle is very small, then tangent gamma equals gamma. So we assume that the deformation is very small. Okay, this is for solid. Next one for liquid. So solid will deform when there force acting on them, but for fluid or the liquid, instead of measuring deformation, we use shear strain rate, commonly known as shear rate, because fluid or liquid, after accepting the force, they will flow, and even though the force is removed, the liquid will not go back to its original shape, right? The flow of the fluid or the liquid. That's why the shear rate of liquid dependent on time. D gamma over dt or du per dx. The unit is second to the power of -1. in between elastic and flow, there is a plastic. So plastic materials, when force is applied on them, they will deform to some extent. Yeah? And then when the force is removed, they will go back to its original shape to some extent, but not exactly the same as its original. So for solid, we use shear stress or shear strain, but for liquid, we use shear rate or dot gamma. Yeah. For solid, the gamma is without the dot, but for liquid, the shear rate, the gamma with the dot. Okay, now it's about shear stress. Shear stress is notated as gamma. So gamma is force over area. So the force which is parallel to its surface over the surface area of the fluid. So for liquid, we assume or we imagine that liquid is like a deck of cards. Yes. Shear rate or gamma dot equals velocity, the velocity of the liquid layer, the top layer, over the distance between the plates. So between these cards or plates, there's a distance. Yeah. So shear rate or gamma dot equals velocity over distance between plates. Okay. So fluids are compounds or materials that can flow without experiencing disintegration. So between the particles, there will be no disintegration. Yeah, if pressure is applied to the material. And rheology is the study of fluid characteristics. Okay, now next we will discuss about viscosity. Imagine that there are two circles, yeah, the inner circle and the outer circle. The inner circle is the yellow one, the outer circle is the pink one. And then we zoom in this part. Yeah. This is the inner cylinder and this one is the outer cylinder. Imagine these circles are dipped in liquid. Okay, so between the outer cylinder and inner cylinder there are liquids here, and the outer cylinder is moving. Okay, so these liquids, imagine that liquids is like a deck of cards. When the top card is applied force on it, then it will move, and the immediate layer below it will also move, yeah, to some extent. This one has a zero velocity, the inner cylinder has zero velocity, and the outer cylinder has a certain velocity. Okay. So what is viscosity? Viscosity is the property of a material which describes the resistance to flow. You can imagine some types of wood, for example, honey. Honey and water, which one has more resistance to flow? Is it honey or water? Honey or water? Honey, yeah. So honey, we say that honey has higher viscosity than water because honey has a resistance to flow higher than water. Here we shear stress equals viscosity times shear rate. Yeah. So shear stress is equivalent with shear rate. To remove this equivalent becomes equals, we need to give it a constant. The constant is viscosity. So shear stress equals viscosity times shear rate. Okay, so in SI system, shear stress has a unit of Newton over square meter or Pascal. Yeah. Okay, in CGS system, so in CGS system is 1 Pascal equals 10 dyne over square centimeter. So shear stress has a unit of Pascal and shear rate has a unit of 1 over S atau S pangkat 1. So the unit of viscosity in SI systems is Pascal times second or kilogram over meter second. In CDS system, the viscosity unit is poise or centipoise. I think you can recall the viscosity module in general physics. Yeah, you did measure the viscosity using, what is it? On Wednesday lab, you will use this kind of instrument. So it's more accurate instrument than Boswell viscometer. Okay, so now shear rate and viscosity. Yeah, viscosity equals shear stress over shear rate. Okay. So how to measure the viscosity using rheometer? Yeah. You will use a different diameter and shape of spindles. Yeah, so this one is the spindle. Are usually numbered 1, 2, 3, etc. Okay, so remember the previous slides where there is an inner cylinder and outer cylinder. This is your beaker. This is the outer cylinder, and the spindle of the equipment is the inner cylinder. So this one, the spindle will rotate. So the liquid immediately contact with the spindle will move. So imagine a deck of cards. Yeah. The card that contact with the spindle will move, yeah, and the immediate layer afterward will also move to some extent. The spindle, this is the outer cylinder. The gap between the outer cylinder and inner cylinder we call it as dome. Yeah. R is the radius of spindle. So when using rheometer, ensure that the percentage of the rotational speed between 10% and 100%. Because if the shear stress is too low or too high, maybe we cannot detect the rheological characteristic of our sample. Okay, so this is an example of results. Yeah, the rotation speed is RPM. So you will apply 3 kind of RPMs, and then you will read on the reading. Yeah. So for example, if a liquid is measured for viscosity at a rotational speed of 6 RPM with spindle number 3, the torque value rate is 40.6%. Thus, the viscosity value is 40.6% times 200. Yeah? The corresponding factors with the 6 RPM is 200. So you need to multiply the percentage of the spindle with the factors that corresponding with the RPM. Yeah? 40.6% times 200 equals 8,120 millipascal second or 8.12 pascal second. So types of fluid is differentiated based on its dependence on time. Okay, they are time independent fluid flow and there's a time dependent fluid flow. We will discuss about time independent fluid flows. So this time-independent fluid flows is also further differentiated into non-Newtonian and Newtonian. Yeah, remember in the quiz, Newtonian is the fluid, a liquid that the shear rate is constant. Yeah. Non-Newtonian and Newtonian. This non-Newtonian is also shear thinning and shear thickening. Newtonian fluids and non-Newtonian fluids. So this one is the non-Newtonian, yeah, the time independent. So, okay, this graph with x-axis of what is it? Newtonian fluid. It has a constant viscosity, no matter the shear rate or shear stress applied. Yeah, viscosity. So viscosity is the gradient of the plot between shear rate and shear stress. So pseudoplastic, when we apply shear rate, yeah, when we increase the shear rate, then the shear stress or the viscosity will decrease. Okay. How about the dilatant? When we increase the shear rate, yeah, and the shear stress, the gradient is increased. Yeah. And then there are other two fluids. This one is Bingham plastic and this one is HB. Newtonian is like fruit juice, for example, apple juice. But processing can change its type of fluid flow. For example, apple juice is Newtonian, but when it's concentrated, it can become dilatant or maybe pseudoplastic. Yeah, so processing influence the fluid flow. Pseudoplastic is like salad dressing, yeah, cream, puree, whipped cream, margarine. Yeah, Bingham plastic is like the tomato ketchup. So viscosity type, there are Newtonian, non-Newtonian Bingham plastic, non-Newtonian pseudoplastic. Yeah, it's like a HB tadi, yeah. Newtonian pseudoplastic and non-Newtonian dilatant. Okay, now we learn about rheology model. So rheology can be measured. So this one is the formula of power law model. So sigma equals K times shear rate to the power of N. Sigma equals mu times shear rate. Shear stress equal viscosity times shear rate. What is the difference? This one applied for Newtonian. For non-Newtonian, we use other model. For example, this power law model. So instead of using mu, we use K and M. What is M? M is the flow behavior index and K is the consistency index. So non-Newtonian liquid follows this model. Pseudoplastic will have N value less than 1, while dilatant will have N value greater than 1. Okay, this one is HB model. So this model similar to power law model, but in addition of yield stress. Okay, so the formula similar to power law, but has an addition of yield stress. Okay, so previously we talked about viscosity, right? But now we'll learn about apparent viscosity. For example, we have a graph of shear stress and shear rate, and then we have what is it? What kind of liquid is it? What kind of fluid flow is it? Newtonian, dilatant, pseudoplastic, Bingham, pseudoplastic. Okay, so at some shear rate point, and then we draw a line to the original, and then we do it the same like this. Okay, this graph shows the relationship between apparent viscosity and shear rate. For dilatant, the apparent viscosity increase along with the increase of shear rate. And for pseudoplastic, the viscosity decrease along the increase of shear rate. But for the Newtonian, the viscosity is constant. Okay, how about the relationship between apparent viscosity and time? Remember, there are fluid flow that time dependent. Okay, could be modeled with several types of equation, exponential, power law, or reciprocal. Okay, can you relate this figure with the equation of viscosity mentioned in the previous slide? This A, what is the fluid flow type? What is the type of the fluid flow of A? Newtonian. B, dilatant. C, pseudoplastic. D, Bingham plastic. E, HB. Yeah. Okay. So this is the formula to find the shear stress. This is the formula to find the shear rate in the module. You can find it. Terima kasih. Terima kasih. Behavior in semi-solid foods. A medium-scale food company produces tomato ketchup recently. They receive consumer complaints. Ketchup is too difficult to pour in the bottle. After shaking, it suddenly flows too fast. Texture is inconsistent between production batches, and the company then measured empirically shear rate and shear stress by the flow behavior, and then how food formulation changes. Okay, so this is the rotational viscometer. The spindle will rotate and the beaker of the sample will stand still to see the effect of temperature on viscosity. Okay, ini difference-nya field number 3 and 4. Izin and meeting ya, kita bisa sudahi hari ini.
Demikian pemaparan proses pembelajaran yang saya laksanakan. Saya terus berupaya mengembangkan proses pembelajaran yang berpusat pada mahasiswa agar dapat mendukung pencapaian-capaian pembelajaran dan memberikan pengalaman belajar yang bermakna. Terima kasih.